Hi, this is AJ.
And this is Diesel.
And you're listening to
Brood Awakening. Welcome to another episode of Brood Awakening, where we watch the weirdest and strangest documentaries so you don't have to. Because you got a holiday party coming up and your president likes computer science and all those things. He's a big libertarian guy. So you want to make it sound like you know what you're talking about. So you listen to us so you can tell you all about John McAfee. So when you go there and talk to him and shake his hand, you can actually know what you're talking about, and you're not just that weird guy who everyone knows to be a bit too into anime and really into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So at least now, because of this podcast, you can talk to him about John McAfee and his crazy life.
So with that being said, that's obviously not my voice or AJ's voice.
Hi.
And that is clearly a good intro for our guest on the show today, who is Chris Howley, a really good friend of mine.
Hello.
So yes, you are listening to Brood Awakening, and today we are reviewing the John McAfee, how do you pronounce it? McAfee documentary on Netflix called Gringo, The Dangerous Life of John McAfee.
And by Showtime.
And just so you guys who out there don't know, Gringo means white person in Spanish.
So I'm the Gringo here.
Yeah, so you're the Gringo here.
Yeah.
I mean, but Al's not AJ's not Spanish.
Anywho, I thought he was the guy. I thought he was the Virgin Mobile guy. So now I know.
Richard Branson.
Yeah, I thought he was the Virgin Mobile guy before.
So as usual at the show, before we get started, we're actually going to tell all of you out there who are listening what we're drinking today. And so we're actually drinking beer instead of wine today. And so we're gonna actually throw me this one. And so we're gonna go from right to left. Howley's gonna start. And what is this one? What is this one
It's
I'm
a
drinking?
TV party.
So we're gonna have a TV party tonight.
What's up, TV party tonight? Just a couple of dudes drinking some booze. TV party tonight.
So TV
Now we're turning into a Black Flag podcast where we just reference Black Flag songs from the 80s.
And if you're like me, you don't know what that is.
So TV party, I do like. It's by Radiant Pig Craft Beers. It is a New England style pale ale. Personally, I think it's very light, quote unquote crushable, as I like to say. It's a good session. I really enjoy it. I think it's strong. It's a bit dangerous because it's about 6% alcohol, and you don't realize how much you're drinking of it. I'm gonna take a sip now.
Ooh.
I really do like it. It's light. It's not too. It's hoppy enough. We get that hop flavor, but it's not drowning you in hops. You just fell into a barrel of them.
So actually, I like TV Party Tonight. I think that it's okay. It's smooth for what is it? A pale ale?
It's a New England style pale ale.
Okay, a New England style. For a pale ale, I think it's kind of neutral. It's really light for other pale ales that are out there. I can definitely drink that. Not too much of it. I have a really obviously, for those of you who are listening, I have a super sensitive stomach, so the stronger beers get to me. But that's definitely a beer that I can drink all night.
It's a little juicy. It's nice. Yeah. I think if you drink it all night, you'll be not staying out all night because, again, it is 6% alcohol, so it catches up on you.
You don't
let's
like
see.
it.
So I'm not a beer drinker, to be honest.
She did. She sipped it.
No, I did. I tried it. TV party. Is it hoppy? Is that the hoppy taste? So I'm not a big hoppy person. But it's okay. It's something that I could take a few sips of it. If you're not a beer drinker like me, we're sampling light beers, which I like light beers. I don't like dark beers. Yeah, it's okay. It's not bad. It's very hoppy, so I'm not a hoppy person. And next.
So our next beer, because we actually have 3 beers tonight. We picked up 3 different beers. Our next beer is Life in the Clouds, which is an India Pale Ale.
It's also New England style.
It's also New England style. So this one actually is my favorite of the night. As I said earlier, when we were watching the documentary. This one is also a tad bit dangerous at 6.1% alcohol. I like this one because when you sip it, or rather when you drink it, it comes off semi-strong, so you get those spice tastes that you want. But then after a couple seconds, it actually becomes quite lighter on your palate. And I think that's great, because then this is definitely a beer that I can drink all night long and still get that pale ale taste that I want. But it's definitely lighter than the TV Party.
Yeah. They're both very similar. They have a very similar style. This one's a bit more citrusy than the other one, in my opinion. But I definitely taste more of a bite. That, like, the other one had a bit more of a smoothness, in my opinion. Whereas this one, I feel like I can definitely taste it being 6.1%. A bit more clear, a bit more evident than the other one. But I do like it. Very strong beer.
What about you, Al?
So I think, what's this one called again?
Life in the Clouds. And
Life in the Clouds.
Side note, all the cans have different pictures on them. For example, the one I'm holding has a little puppy in a bathtub.
Oh yeah, it's very cute. It's like a poodle. Or I don't know what that is. But let's see. I think it's. Can I taste it again? It's definitely more. It is definitely more citrusy, and I actually think because of. I'm not a beer connoisseur at all, but just me tasting my palate, I actually, because it's more citrusy, it's not as hoppy to me, which is why I like it a little bit more, because all I taste is the citrus. And it is that, like, color, like that pale color that I would probably order. Like, if I saw it in, like, what are those called? A flight? Like, I'd probably pick this one because of the color of it. I know, it's good. I like the citrus over the hoppy. And that's
it's really crisp, really nice.
Yeah, I like that. I like crispness. And next, can I introduce the next one?
Yeah, you can introduce the next one because it's your favorite.
Okay, so the next one of the night is Guns N' Rosé
by Oscar Blues.
Yes. So
Take me down to the Paradise City where the grass is green.
Okay, we don't need a song for every beer, but so this is.
We inadvertently picked two beers that are very song centric.
That is true. So this is also 6.0% alcohol by volume.
Oh man, we're gonna get lit.
We are. We're gonna be fucking wasted. By
also, on the bottom of this, it says crisp AF, meaning crisp as fuck. So it's very good. This one was my favorite, since I'm not a beer drinker, and it tastes like rosé. And yeah, it has that nice rosé taste, I think, with a good bite to it. And you know. I'm a little basic, so I like it.
It's definitely the fruitiest of all three. Like, it's a very good fruit beer, in my opinion. Got a bit of a sourness to it.
No, I like it. I don't dislike it.
Yeah.
And I love the hint of, like, it being... Because I personally, if I'm drinking wine, which, I mean, obviously we do here on the podcast, but, like, drinking wine, I'm not a big rosé drinker. I have yet to find a rosé.
You ordered one rosé one time, and
I hated it.
I finished it.
I was disgusted by it. So, like... As someone who dislikes rosé and loves beer, it's like it seems like it's a really good mix here. Like it does. You still have that like sense of like this is definitely a beer. It is not a wine. And you get that hoppy flavor from it, but then you get those subtle like fruity tones from it that are like this is also a rosé.
I'm gonna throw shade at the about 17,000 people that checked in on Untapped, because I gave it 3.3 stars.
Out of 5?
I don't think... Yeah, I think this is definitely more than a 3 1/3. It's a good beer. I think people on Untapped are crazy. I just want to say that.
That's a good beer.
Shame on you people on Untapped that rated this as low as you did.
I would definitely give this a 4-star rating. But I mean, we'll wait till the end for that. We'll save that, but I will definitely rate this beer higher than...
It's a solid beer. It's a good beer that you can like take to like a party. It reminds me of summer.
Yeah.
I feel like if I had this on a beach, I would really enjoy it.
Yeah,
like,
no, I would too.
I can make a cocktail with this, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Some sort of a mixed drink cocktail.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So anyways, getting back to the documentary now. John McAfee.
Can we just... Maybe I'm going to spoil this, but can I just list the crimes he committed, possibly?
Yo, honestly, go ahead and do it.
I just want to list...
Go ahead and do it.
To save you the trouble, in case you listen to only the first half hour of podcast, and you still be that guy. He probably murdered someone, or at least had someone murdered.
I think that he was, yes, he was heavily involved with the murder of somebody.
Yep.
Definitely raped someone.
He definitely raped someone.
Yes.
Like, it was a very cute relationship from the beginning, which we'll get into. Poor Allison. Probably stole things.
Definitely stole it.
Definitely stole things.
Yes.
Assaulted people.
Yeah.
He at least caused the murder of 2 people. So far we have...
He was involved, well, but he was
I
involved
would
with
also
both.
say bribery.
he was
I don't
bribery,
think those
yes,
gets to the
yes,
police. That's a
yes.
lot of
He bought off
bribery.
police officers.
He bought a police officer. So far,
Yep.
to summarize, 2 murders he's involved with. Possible theft, rape, bribery of police.
Yep.
And he also likes... We'll save that one for later.
You will say that.
We'll save that one for later.
Yeah.
Let's
Those
say
are
it
like
later.
personal,
That was a weird
preferences.
Okay, so
That
like
caused me to be shooketh.
like I
Yeah.
did last time.
I was shocked.
Scene opener.
So scene 1. So I'll do
Scene-
scene 1
scene
this
one.
week.
Okay, you go ahead and
yeah.
do scene 1.
So scene
We gotta
1.
do the deep voice.
It's no.
the deep voice.
So scene 1. I'll stick to legitimate facts. So it opens.
They're all legitimate facts.
That's
You
true.
fucking killed people.
Okay, so it starts with a dash cam video from a police car in the United States, and it's
think?
that was
That was definitely Florida. That was
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
Florida.
Florida
Yeah,
man.
that
You
was
hear
definitely
that cop
Florida.
talk?
Florida
Yeah.
man.
That was definitely
Did you hear
Florida.
him talk?
You got, you got
You got
weapons in
weapons
the
on you?
car, sir?
Yeah.
Sir.
No one says that around here.
No, this is around here. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no one says that around
Out
here.
here, you're shot, and then
Yeah,
they,
no
then
one
they
says that
ask
around
you.
here. So they're like, get out of the car.
Anyway.
So it starts off, it's dash cam footage of him being pulled over. I think they said he almost hit somebody or something like that. They pull him over. He gets out of the car. And he starts off by saying, basically like, my name's John McAfee. You might have heard of me. The cop's like, no, I don't know who you are.
And then he said something that was my first note that I took down. It was the word really with a question mark. Because he sounded so surprised that people
So
didn't...
He was like, you don't know me?
You don't know who I am?
He went, really?
He was like, I'm the biggest person in cyber security. And the cop's like,
Okay.
okay.
You may have heard I murdered my
Yeah.
neighbor. I may have killed other people too. You may have heard all these things.
I
The
might have
FBI is looking for me
And
right
the
now.
cop's just like, whatever, dude. You ran a red light. Like,
He's like, you may want to call the FBI right
He goes,
now because they're looking for me.
They're looking for me for the murder of Greg Fall. And then he goes, do you have any weapons on you?
he said the guy's name.
He said Gregory Fall. And then he goes, do you have any weapons on you? He said, yes. Do you have any cash on you? Yep, $4,000. The cop goes, is that normally how much you carry?
Yes,
and he
of
said,
course.
yes, of course it is.
He's always paying someone to kill somebody. He's always paying somebody to kill
I'm gonna get that later. And then
So that's scene 1.
It then quickly tells.
Well,
like,
wait. Let's actually. I'm sorry here. I thought that the documentary was a little bit confusing in the sense of we should have. Yes, that was a great lead, but we should have started off with childhood. We shouldn't have jumped straight into fucking Belize. Like,
Fair enough.
yeah, we should have jumped straight in. It should have jumped straight into his childhood and like how he grew up. So like obviously John McAfee from England.
Grew up in
Well,
Virginia.
I think they chose that to.
But whatever, this is how we're gonna tell it.
They chose that to like catch the reader, the viewer as they saw it, because that was what the news was that people knew this is what he's about. So I think just straight up being like, this is John McAfee, born in England. People can click on the channel, see them, and be like, that's dumb. Keep going. So, but I got that. Yes, it probably should have been like that, but who knows?
But anyways, born in England,
Virginia, I believe.
Virginia.
Grew up in Virginia.
And his
Father-
dad was an alcoholic, apparently.
Yeah, he had a rough childhood.
Rough childhood.
Father killed himself.
Father killed
Yeah.
himself. But then again, like I'm just gonna say this now. I'm gonna note this now so we can revisit this later. How much of what this man says can you believe? Like that's my thing. Like how much of this what he says can you honestly actually believe? So this is all by hearsay about like, what he says his childhood was like. So whatever he goes to college for computer science and gets a degree in that, and then this is what pissed me off. This was where my first note actually came in, and this actually upset. Like it semi upset me because as someone that works in tech or like semi tech.
You do work in tech.
Someone that works in tech. So someone that works in tech, it's kind of like upsetting that he goes, one day I sat down and I typed in a few little things like here and there, and there you had it, the birth of the antivirus program McAfee. And I'm like, I sat there and I believe I turned to Howley and I turned to AJ and I was like, that's absolute bullshit. you sat there and you punched a few things in to make it seem like it's the easiest thing in the world. Yeah. Some of the best programmers on this fucking planet have problems with their fucking code. And you're going to sit there like you're some sort of fucking genius.
Well, we mentioned it in our viewing. We watched it together all in the same room. And when we watched it, I think I said it, maybe Al or AJ said it, that, like, he's a narcissist.
Well, I said he can't stop talking.
And I was like, he's a narcissist.
He can't stop talking about himself.
There's so much of the things he says where he is almost the hero of his own story. Mm-hmm. And so, like you're saying, like, can we really believe the things he was saying? I don't know. Good point.
So from there, from his McAfee company and stuff like that, it blew up because he got everyone, because this was during what was it again? The 80s? Like 86 or something like that?
I had McAfee in college.
So, I had McAfee as well.
And just so everyone knows, I would never, ever buy a computer and not because of this documentary, but growing up in the 90s, it was well known amongst the kids that were like learning computers that McAfee was actually a shit fucking program.
However,
to have.
I imagine back in the 80s, it was probably very much a legitimate product.
It definitely was.
Can I remember my Leisure Suit Larry story?
Yeah.
Side note, back in the 80s, there was and still is currently, surprisingly, Leisure Suit Larry was a video game series. Leisure Suit Larry was very popular with like computer programmers, computers at the time. A pirated version of Leisure Suit Larry actually had a virus in it that caused a shutdown of European banks. Oh. And Leisure Suit Larry had to come out and say, our game actually doesn't have this virus in it, just the pirated versions do. So you're able to trace who actually had the original pirated version based on like which banks went down.
Right.
So it's just a side note how like antivirus systems actually had a real meaningful impact back in the 80s. I know we kind of take it for granted now, but like...
Well, they talked about that Michelangelo virus in the documentary about how that came up, and that was when...
Yeah, go continue.
No, but just like... But we have to remember, like, we live in a very, like, headline society. Like, my mom, I love her, but, like, she reads a headline, and then she'll, like, call me and be like, did you hear this? Like,
yeah, but the Michelangelo...
Right, and, like, she doesn't know the rest of it, because I'll ask her a question, she's like, I don't know, I just saw the headline. So, like, but... Right, so, like, they were talking about that in the documentary of, like, the Michelangelo virus, which was also at the same time of the rise of the McAfee software and stuff like that. So he came out, like, a very clutch time, and people were like, my computer's going to get hacked, and that's when really no one understood
Well, it also, he wrote on the coattails of, don't you remember that one time we were watching something, and it was about, like, the first computer virus that was ever made. And it was, like, this guy created a worm, to go around to every computer and see how many computers the internet actually connected to. Right. But instead of creating this harmless thing that was, like, that would give him a number bleep back, it instead infected, like, not millions, this is a fucking exaggeration, but it infected hundreds of fucking computers that were connected to the internet. And it's like, so of course, yes, he rode on the coattails of fucking, because in the 80s, shit was going down. Like, computers were new. People were fucking around with shit. Things were going down. But then this is where shit gets weird. Because then at his fucking, at McAfee Company, he was, what was going on there? Like, he was having, like, sex parties and shit?
They had, like, a game that they would get points for having sex at certain parts of the office. So an anecdote in the documentary is that every morning they had to sanitize desks for fear of there being something on the desk left over from last night, which is really gross.
That's so nasty.
HR wouldn't like that.
Super gross.
Like,
well, also,
that's gotta break some OSHA laws too. Like, there's gonna be a lot of
didn't they say in a conference room they would do like chants?
Yes, it was.
They would like the women.
They said the women
like,
were witches.
Go in, they were witches, and they would go in and like do chants and stuff like that.
At this point in my notes, I wrote two things. He's roguishly good looking, and he looks like a retired gym teacher just fishing for the rest of his days.
Yeah,
he's roguish.
Not good. No,
he's roguish.
No, that is not. No,
yeah, he's roguish.
Wolverine is like roguish.
Wolverine's rugged.
Oh my god, that's subjective. I'm gonna say he's not good looking.
So then from there,
he'd be a great bandit in like 1500s. Like, ooh, the bandit that saves the day.
It's
and
funny.
It's fucking John McAfee takes the bandit off.
He was the guy to him like, oh, I'll take a shower. That's what I kept thinking when I was on. Like, oh, take a shower.
He looks. He's windburned and salt stained.
He looks fucking disgusting.
There are some shots of him. I'm like, ooh, boy. I know I don't look great, but like I'm like saying, you guy like just what about that man?
No.
So in the beginning, he goes to Belize.
Yep.
No.
But
We're sticking with actual timeline of like his life, or not. Or
I'm
you wanna...
confused because my notes don't follow
I
that.
guess, but like
I know my notes don't follow it either, but
but he
I was
legally
telling
went
from
to
that.
Belize.
Whatever. So we can talk about the Belize shit. I really wanted to talk about the yoga.
Oh,
That's
right.
Because after that was the yoga. After that was the fucking bullshit like, oh, like I sold my company and now I can't make it as a fucking tech entrepreneur, so I'm gonna hold a fucking yoga fucking
true. Yeah, he did
bullshit
do that.
seminar.
So he started in yoga and tried to be in this whole like Bikram yoga type of personality where like he's almost running a pseudo cult, but isn't quite good enough to actually get a cult to run.
Yeah.
One thing I find very interesting, in two things he said almost back to back. One thing, he said, I've been doing yoga for 35 years of my life. And then literally the next email posted was, I've done yoga my entire life.
Since nice.
It's like, come on, man.
Since 1982.
Bro, like,
I think he's in
like,
that too.
what's with this? What's with this going on?
True.
But see, this is why I wanted to paint this picture.
He had a comment. Oh my god, he had a comment about like really trying to be that like third eye opening type of guy. He's like, pain is just an experience.
Oh no, I wrote it down. No, he said,
yes, right.
I did write it down. Oh, he's like, to live is to die simultaneously.
Yeah, like
what the fuck was that?
What does that mean? Like, bro, like,
mean?
just stop talking in platitudes and like
To live is
fish
to
these
die
people as things they want to hear. Like it's
simultaneously.
like pain's just a feeling. Like what's sexuality? What's love? What's death without feeling pain? And I'm like, yo, bro, what are you talking about, man? Like I can't understand you. I was sober when he said that. I couldn't understand.
No, I didn't either. But I think we also have to say how a lot of this information was delivered.
True.
Within the documentary.
Oh, right, yes.
So the docu person or whatever you call her.
Her name is Nanette.
Nanette. So she was the one who reached out to John McAfee via email and asked to do an interview.
Gmail.
And he said,
no, absolutely not. I'm not going to do an email. So as a good journalist, she just kept asking him questions.
She didn't keep asking questions.
No,
he fucking emailed her
kept
like
emailing
fucking
her like a crazy person.
But then he said no to an interview, and then had a full interview via email.
Yeah.
As they kept corresponding to each other.
Full interview, like a fucking lifelong interview.
And multiple times
for
he was like
a year, I think she said.
over
a year, right?
And multiple times he said, like, this is not an interview. Like, don't consider this an interview. This better not be in your documentary. This is an interview. And meanwhile, she's like, fuck that. Pulling that right there.
Yeah, and then he was like, sorry, I don't know.
I also made a comment.
I'm getting drunk.
He looks like the lead singer of a Van Halen cover band. He would look like a great lead singer for some crappy cover band playing in some dinky dive bar.
Okay, so I'm gonna semi-agree with you. He actually looks like a guy who dates like a really goth girl who's like, no, my boyfriend's in a band. They're gonna make it one day.
Yes,
they're gonna make it one day.
That
Not a cover band.
He's that
but
guy.
like some fucking loser band that doesn't really even make money. And it's like no, he's gonna make it one day. He's gonna make it.
They play 6 songs. 5 of them are covers. The last one is the original, and people are already leaving by that time.
No, for real.
Like, I'm glad you guys all enjoyed Jump. This next song is
Journey.
Pain is just a feeling, and people are like, all right, we're out of here.
And then you have those middle-aged moms like, woo!
He did say a comment that I thought was very interesting. So this is one at this point in the documentary, this is right when the economic crash happens, and he was at one point worth $10 million.
Wait, I have a comment about this. Go.
He was $10 million, and then he is now worth less than $1 million.
No.
It was $100 million. $100 million.
Then he was worth $10 million.
He was worth less than $10 million. He made a comment about how, like, he had to figure out what want versus need. And I was like, that's an incredibly profound statement from a guy who's a crazy person. So a crazy person should not be talking to me on a level where I'm like, oh, I'm learning something.
Right?
Like that shouldn't be happening from this dude. From a guy who looks coked out of his mind.
Right. And that was also when he said people took advantage of him with the yoga studio.
So
wasn't that also about that? Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. He was like I stopped the yoga studio because people were taking advantage of me and coming for free. But you were allowing people to come. You see, I was under the representation that like when he started a yoga studio, people were paying to come on this retreat.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought this was fact because, you know, as a normal person, I'm like, oh shit, open up a fucking yoga studio so all these idiots can come and experience tranquility.
Right.
And I'm air quoting here. And like
for media for an audio representation.
I'm like fucking
right?
air quoting here, like tranquility.
With John
and
McAfee.
like, meanwhile, he's letting people come in for fucking free. But the thing that got me about that whole interview was that, so in my notes, it's actually really funny because I wrote, I love how white people, because the reporter, I was more fixated on the reporter than on John.
Yeah.
The reporter went, oh, I'm interviewing like then 100 millionaire, now loser, John McAfee.
You mean like the CNN reporter, not Nanette?
Yeah, the CNN reporter,
Sure.
not the documentary person.
Got it.
CNN
We're
reporter.
on the same page, cool.
The CNN reporter. Sorry about that, people. But the CNN reporter was like once 100 millionaire, now loser, John McAfee. John, we hear that you're like worth like about 10 or less than $10 million. He's still a millionaire, you fucking asshole.
I know.
He's still a fucking millionaire. He's still got fucking money. The fuck you mean, loser?
It's like that South Park episode when they talk about like pirating music and stuff like that.
Let's not divulge into a pro McAfee podcast.
Okay, we're not.
But anyway,
we're not.
but
What were you
AJ,
saying?
you're talking about
I was
the
saying-
Napster thing, right?
Yeah, it's like that South Park episode where they're like, look, his little Romeo, he was supposed to get a whole golden whatever. Now he can only get a basketball for his birthday.
Here's Lars Ulrich. He wanted a 12-foot pool.
Yeah.
He could only afford a 10-foot pool.
No, the best one was P. Diddy or whatever, whoever it was. It's like, look at his children. He wanted an island for his birthday. But I see an island with no inhabitants. Like, what the fuck, bro? That's how white people act, though.
That's how rich people
That's how rich people act.
So I think at this point, he's going to Belize.
He's going to Belize.
He's lost his money.
Yeah, he's well. You got to talk about. We got to talk about that in his email when he's like, "I fooled the media.
Yeah.
I only
I love
told
fooling
them."
What
media.
money? Follow the money? Ha! How
There's
can you
no-
follow the money?
He says
there is no money to follow.
He's like, I have my name. He was like, I have my name on so many companies. You can't follow anything. And, and all these fake shell
He
companies.
threw a smoke bomb down and ran away.
And went to Belize.
Not
And
today.
went to Belize. Not today.
The Batman will never catch me.
Not today, IRS. Bam! And escaped to Belize with less than $10 million.
The place where U.S. Marshals frequent so that they can pick up people that are criminals. The place where there's no business regulations and no regulations really in general. Where the police department has no DNA testing. So it's a perfect place to commit a crime.
One comment I had when they first started talking about him Belize, I was like, that's way too many murders. Just straight up, way too many murders. They're like, oh, this is the most murders we have. Like, every day U.S. Marshals come here and talks about a murder that happened. I'm like, every day?
Every day.
Every day? U.S. Marshals. Plural.
No, they said every couple weeks. They didn't say every day. They said every couple weeks.
You're a garbage.
They said every couple weeks, the U.S. Marshals. And they find people.
Here we meet one of the heroes of the documentary. Allison, I can't remember her last name.
I
I
don't
can't remember her
know.
last name. She's a microbiologist.
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 Yeah.
A tragic character in our story, but so McAfee, to make money, went to Belize and wanted to
Open up like different businesses and stuff like that and everything.
Like, one was like pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Allison, it was like
It's not me.
It's not her, but unfortunately for Allison, you know, she was a budding microbiologist who was trying to find her way in pharmaceuticals, and it's like McAfee reached out to her and was like, "Hey, like I like what you're doing. Like I'll offer you a job," and then like, you know, as someone who's like post college, just in the field, really fucking intelligent, like trying to make it in the world. You want to make your stamp in this world, especially in that fucking field. And it's like she took whatever offer he threw at him. He threw at her. So it's like he was like, "Oh, like you're gonna come live in my house with me." And so for me, like even though she said that made her feel uncomfortable, for me that was the first red flag in the documentary. I was like, "Yo," I'm like, "No, like you shouldn't have gone to fucking live with him."
Side note: the compound that he was building is crazy.
It's fucking
like
Yeah.
there were like gates and like guards there,
Yeah.
and like which we'll get to later. But like I just like he also the average worker at the time was making $24 USD a day.
Yeah.
And then it went up to,
He
like,
was
40
offering them
No, he did
45.
Yeah.
So like he controlled everything in that town
Yep.
right from the get-go.
Yep.
Of him landing
Yeah.
there, all of a sudden everyone loves him.
Yeah.
So if you look at this from like a character arc
I
standpoint,
know.
this guy right now, he's getting his power. He's controlling.
Yeah.
He's putting his fingers
Yep.
in all the pots
and everything, because that's when he was also before we neglect to say it, when he got there with all this happening at the same time, because the documentary jumps to a lot of different things at the same time. So while all this is going on, he's also like buying out the police by providing them with
Yep.
like tasers and weapons
Yeah.
and vehicles and boats and stuff like that. He was in the Belize news for offering the fucking Coast Guard a $1 million boat.
And then
Which
if you
I said he donated so many tasers. Why so many tasers? With 3 question marks.
Because why
well,
so many
probably
tasers?
because I mean tasers are cheaper than guns,
No, but I was like, why do you have this many tasers? Like,
and they
that's
might
my
not have,
question.
and they might not have had any. The
True.
police
Yes,
department,
yes,
like
true,
they
true,
probably
true,
didn't
true,
have
true.
like any. I don't think they had much.
And
Which
you're-
I also think kind of goes to Allison too, of like the way he was able to offer people in that country. So like she's an American, right? And like, but she's in a country where she's trying to do research and things like that. And like to get the kind of funding that she would need, she would have to apply for a lot of grants and things like that. It's very daunting to get that kind of money and whatnot. And then someone comes and kind of just offers you money. And I think that was like what was kind of like enticing for her. Like, hey, like I could do my research very easily
Right.
now, not knowing, obviously, not
I-
knowing what she was going to get herself
Yep.
into.
And also, like,
So-
she knew McAfee as tech mogul McAfee.
Right, because he wasn't crazy by that point. Yeah,
Right,
like
yeah.
no,
Or,
he didn't
like,
have the rep that he does
no,
now.
no one knew he was crazy. No one knew he
tech
was
mogul yoga guy McAfee.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing bad yet. He's just this eccentric billionaire,
Right.
Sort of like Richard Branson,
Who I
sorta.
thought he was. Yeah.
like sort of like that.
Yeah.
But I get why she did it.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
crazy.
Yeah.
I get
no,
why she did.
I get
No,
why she did
all of us
it.
are at the consensus
Yes.
that we get why she moved in with
Okay.
him. We get it. We get it.
Also, at this point, we find out that McAfee was hiring or had his guys follow Nanette around and took pictures of Nanette.
Nanette
Oh yes,
was the
yes.
woman.
Nanette's the
that-
documentary maker and
Yes.
everything. Yeah, yeah.
So,
She was following McAfee around trying to locate him. But also,
And
I
he had
want to
people
point out, and
follow.
we'll get to this later when we talk about the murders and stuff like that. There's huge holes in this documentary because there's parts of the story that I know about that wasn't in the documentary.
Could have been coming for. Like,
I know, but like there's still like huge holes where like his disappearance, his time. Well, we'll get to it later. We'll get to it later. But yeah, no, like Nanette was going around in Belize, I guess, searching or interviewing people, and McAfee was having her followed and having people take pictures of her, and he'd send it to her via email, and just like, if you don't think that's fucking crazy, like I
Yeah.
don't know what it is then. I'm like, I'm getting drunk.
at this point, we started to notice how actually crazy he was. In my notes, I just have, in all caps, LMAO, the dyed bottles. So at this point,
That's great.
McAfee's trying to get investors in his little compound thing he's doing. So he asked Allison to get like their products that they were working on, and she did, and he was not pleased because it didn't look sciencey. So he had Allison dye the bottles.
Yeah.
And
Well,
dye-
he mixed food coloring
Yeah,
together.
and put food coloring in the
You're
chemicals.
being really
Yeah.
fancy right now. You're like,
I'm like,
he
he put
had
food
Allison dye the bottles.
Right.
It was
Like, he put
fucking
food coloring in
every
water.
day food
He
coloring.
put food coloring in it, and there's a picture. There's a great picture of McAfee holding this like very like scientific beaker, quizzically looking at it with a red liquid inside it, and Allison's in the background just looking at him like, "This fucking guy's paying me money to do this shit. What the fuck am I doing here?"
Well, also too, the way he said, like he was like, "Oh, we discovered a spray-on antibiotic,"
Yes,
and I was
what
like,
the
"Well,
fuck?
that's kind of what bacitracin is already, which
Yeah.
is sold in Walgreens."
Like,
But like, I was like, "That's
you
basically what."
discovered that?
I was like, "That's what bacitracin
Good job,
is."
sir.
Yeah, I was like, "That's already sold. That's not really a difference."
I don't know. I just like from my notes from like that moment, It was like, had people follow documentary maker, wanted to take over Belize. We already talked about that. And then love scat sex.
Wait, no. So you jump through major hoops of the documentary. But at this point, we really start to see like, oh, he's actually crazy.
He's crazy. He's fucking nuts.
Yeah, so I think his paranoia
really
kind of starts to come out and kick in of who he is, and I think that kind of, we could talk about all the people he hired.
He
started hiring
to be
gunmen.
with him.
12 to 13 quote-unquote hitmen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
At first, all these dudes, the pictures they had of them, the roll slide of them was hilarious.
Yeah, it was great. It was fucking great because they looked like a fucking... You know when you like log on to Facebook and it's like, hey, it's your friendiversary. Let's show you where you're at. That's exactly what it fucking looked like. It was just like a Facebook friendiversary of all of these dudes who had fucking murdered like hundreds of people with guns and shit.
Or like, oh, friend suggestion from that guy from high school you don't talk to anymore. You're like,
Delete.
Out. He had 12 to 13 armed guards with him.
At all times.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And he basically did vigilante shit. Where he would like go around and say, if I see you outside at night, I'm going to kill you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think it was like kind of like driven home the point about what he was doing in the terms of that, like, he was in a country where people cannot find work. People have nothing to do.
Right.
He is paying them very well. Getting paid $45 a day is like a huge promotion for anybody in Belize. And I don't think that was really like talked about like the reason like these people did this was because like, oh my gosh, there's actually like work to do and I have a family at home.
And I want to get that later.
Right.
I really want to get to like...
Talk about it now.
Like, well, because like, it's like this other thing.
Talk
Is,
about
like,
it now.
So this does not really hit on like why like these people are doing these things. Like,
Dude, I fucking hate my cat.
Is she beating your shoe up?
No, because she pretends, look, now she's pretending. She pretends like she's playing with a fucking toy and she puts the toy in my shoe and then she starts breaking my fucking shoe. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Anyways.
So back to fake Pablo Escobar over here. No, like the podcast does not really the documentary I should say does not really hit on the fact that like the abject poverty these people have.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't talk about how poor. So what was it? It's Orange Road or
Orange
Walk.
Orange Walk.
Orange Walk.
It doesn't actually talk about how poor people are in Orange Walk because I mean, if you're working for $45 a day, that's really bad.
That's why everyone wanted to work for him to build his house.
However, this is a documentary about McAfee, not about the poverty in Belize.
Yeah, no. We understand that. We understand that.
Right, but I think they should. Yes, I agree with that.
Think
but
that
I
plays
also
a key
think
role.
they should have talked
totally,
about like
100%.
why he had so much control. Like my thing is, I'm saying is that like they're saying how he had so much control in a country that's very easy for a rich man to have control in.
I believe,
like they're trying. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like you're talking about a rich man in a country that like that's really easy to have control in. Like we could all afford $45 a day.
It's similar to how like
I wish I spent $45.
We can go on vacation to Bali and spend like $300 USD and live like kings for a week because shit there costs $3 US American for like a whole meal.
Right, because my thing is like, why do you think he went to Belize and did all that?
Exactly, because
like,
it was an opportunity.
Right, like he's like what I'm saying. Right, if he was here, you're one of like how many millionaires in this country? Like that's what you know what I mean. So
and I mean there were rich Americans there,
and by the way. Diesel and I both
went. But they also didn't have.
When AJ asked us how many millions are in America, Diesel and I both like did the whole shrug emoji.
A ton.
Like, oh no.
Right. I mean, but what you just said, Diesel, of like the other people that were there, but they didn't have 12 security guards with them.
No, exactly, because they were rich, but they weren't millionaires.
And they weren't psychotic.
And they weren't fucking psychotic.
Can we talk about the first real crime we see him commit?
Yes, yeah.
That's not a crime.
That's a crime and like...
Don't kink shame.
Oh yeah, don't kink shame here, AJ. Don't kink shame. Okay?
Yes, you are.
I'm not.
It may be illegal in the South.
In the Bible Belt,
certain parts,
it
but
might be.
So we'll get that later. But at this point in my notes, I have poor Allison. At this point, Allison's saying, "I'm tired. I want to."
Oh, I thought we were talking about David.
No.
Oh, I thought we were talking about David getting killed.
So he definitely.
I thought that David got killed before Allison got.
No. It was Allison then David.
Oh.
So Allison definitely mostly got raped by
John.
McAfee. One day she came to him and said, "I'm tired. I miss my family."
Well, no, but I'd be tired too of all the lies and fucking doing bullshit. You want to, like, again, like, in the scientific field, in, like, fucking, like, computer science and stuff like that and everything, you want to make your stamp in this world, okay? And, like, he was holding her back, obviously, and by this time, she realized it, and she's like, I'm tired of this, I want to go home, it's over. So they get into a fight, and she's like, they're fighting for, like, however long, and they're like, she's like, oh, like, I have a headache, like, I'm gonna go home. And he's like, no, I'll get you something. So he, like, walks out, comes back in.
But she had a headache from crying.
Yeah, she had a headache from crying. But I said from fighting, but, like, yeah whatever. So he comes in with 2 pills. He says that they're Tylenol. Here's some orange juice. And, basically, what happens is that she blacks out. And she wakes up the next day, and she's like, she had flashes during the night and everything. Howley's like shaking his head yes at me because I remembered properly. So she had flashes of him standing over her naked.
Bingo, very good.
And stuff like that. And so she really believes she believes, and you know what? We also believe her story of like him raping her. And so she was bleeding in the shower. She, like, cried in the shower for hours. And then she was like, well, what happened? He came to her house or something?
So then she went back to her own apartment, which I guess she had gotten her own.
No, she had been in her own apartment.
No, she didn't.
Oh, no,
she
she
went
didn't.
back to her apartment.
Oh, yeah, that's
she
right.
went back
That's
to her
right.
apartment.
Yeah.
And then he came looking for her at her apartment. And then she had to call her friends to come get her. And then they got her, hid her, and then they had to hide her. Jeez, guys.
I'm sorry.
And then they had to hide her at one of, like, their relatives' houses for her to get on a flight. Then, like, I don't know.
Can we also just acknowledge
Horrible.
that this was in the middle of the fucking jungle?
Literally, like, in the middle.
This
of
wasn't
the
like,
jungle.
we called an Uber and got her out of there and saved her. Like, it was literally fucking
Yeah.
jungle and darkness. Like, to
Yeah.
escape that is insane.
Yeah, and they had to hide her, and it was, like, the way she told it was so scary. Like it was really scary.
Her whole story could be a horror movie.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, but so then she got back to the States, called the FBI, told the FBI about everything that had happened down there, but the FBI has no jurisdiction in Belize, so it was kind of like, well, you're back in the States now, we can't really do anything about what happened to you in Belize, right? Like, that was basically what they said to her.
this is where we meet my favorite character,
Which one?
Mac 10.
Eddie.
Yo, Mac 10.
His name's
bro.
Eddie.
Eddie.
Yeah, but the thing about Mac 10,
Eddie.
we gotta talk about David though, because
Right,
what
right.
happened was
Yes,
that
yes,
there was
yes.
this guy David who wanted to. So like at
David
the
Middleton.
same time,
His fucking neighbor.
John's like,
David fucking Middleton.
Like
fucking,
Kate-
don't besmirch him. He's a family man.
Like Kate Middleton,
All right?
the princess.
Exactly. Exactly.
so
Same fucking
That's the only
family.
reason I remember. Middleton. That's the only reason.
so David basically, because John's raising like awareness of like people hating him in town and stuff like that because he's got a lot of money. So like,
Yeah.
you know, in Central and South America, when you got a lot of money and you fucking flaunt your fucking money around, people are gonna fucking kill you.
You also put a target on your back.
Yeah.
So what happens is that he's saying his paranoia is growing, and he's like, people are coming after me, people are gonna kill me, people want my money, things like that and everything. And so this guy David wants to teach John a lesson about something. I don't know about what. It's clearly they paint the picture. This is what I don't like about the documentary, is like they paint a picture of like David is like, oh, I want to teach John a lesson. No, like everyone's poor. You need money,
Yeah.
so you rob John's house.
Right.
Let's honestly be honest here. Like you rob John's house, so this guy David, obviously, like I just stated, robs John's house, and so John finds out he wants to teach David a lesson. So David's abducted. He is electrocuted. Yeah, he's electrocuted. With these tasers and shit like that and everything.
In his mouth.
In his mouth,
On his private
on his
parts.
balls and shit like that and everything.
That's how I
Tease the
say
dick.
private parts, and you guys are like dicks.
Dicks, balls, dicks, balls, face.
I'm like bathing suit parts.
And like so basically like they parade him around, not parade him around town, but they drive him through town, throw him in a a part of town that's populated.
Yeah.
People bring him to the hospital. He slips into a coma. He dies.
Succumbs to his
So then this guy, Mac 10's like, yo, like, David's my best friend. And so John's worried that I'm going to kill him. And he has people coming after me. So, like, Mac 10's fucking... So, actually...
So Mac 10's name is Eddie.
His name is Eddie.
The reason he's called Mac 10...
is because he fucking murders you with a Mac 10 when he wants to kill you. He uses his...
Quote unquote, if I'm pissed off at you, the Mac 10's what I use.
Yeah, exactly. So, like... So, Mac 10's, like, in hiding, getting ready to fucking kill John. But then they have a meeting one day...
well, no, but this was when he said he was like, so John calls me to have a meeting at his house. He's like, they have what? Like a bump 12? I got an AK-47.
No, a pump 12.
Oh, I don't know what it
Like,
called.
he's a pump 12?
He's like, I got an AK-47. What are they going to do?
Yeah, what are they going to do?
He goes, so then John
Second
I'll do with it.
Like, second I'm in that gate, there ain't nothing going to stop me. What you think gonna happen?
Yeah, and then he's like, so John said not his house. So John said not his house.
And that's one of those rare moments where it's like John's a really smart person because this guy was gonna
shouldn't have that
fucking
guy go to
murder
your house.
everyone on your fucking compound.
Mac
Like,
10 is the scariest motherfucker.
Yeah, he is.
Yes.
He's also the most like calm and collected person, I would say.
Which adds to the scariness.
Right, which adds to how scary
It's like
it is.
Hugo
because
Weaving.
He is just like very calm, knows kind of like nothing's gonna touch him a little bit, I would say.
Yeah.
And like that's what makes him even scarier. I'm like, oh shoot, this guy.
He also said, like, if you come after me, if you threaten me, I'll make sure to get you first.
Right, exactly, yes.
And, like, he said that in a voice where I believed he will kill me.
So I feel like we were all kind of like rooting for him a little bit, Eddie. We were like, he's gonna get John.
Yes, we were
like,
all
this
Team
is
Eddie.
it. Like you were like.
Until he started working for John.
I was gonna say that. That's what I was gonna say.
I'm done!
And then at the end
Leave
of
it.
it, he was like, and then he started talking to me. We had a whole conversation. John said, I thought you wanted to kill me. He said, I thought, and then Eddie was like, I thought you wanted to kill me.
Then they
and
kissed.
then they had drinks, I think they said, and then he ended up basically.
then they kissed.
Then they
They
hugged
kissed.
and they danced, and then Eddie ended up working for John, which also goes to what I was saying before about like. He offered him a lot of money.
This Machiavellian
like,
motherfucker, man.
Right, like he offered him a lot of money. Was he going to say no?
He navigated all the pieces he knew he had to navigate to get the shit he needed done.
Right.
Yep.
Right, exactly. And he was like, listen, I already have an AK-47, so
So at this point in the story,
put me on the team.
let's summarize what's happened so far.
Summarize it. Do it. I'm too drunk to do it.
I can do it.
He's...
Let her do it.
You do it.
Wait, we're doing a whole summary from
The
birth?
summary. No,
From
no, no.
Belize.
What
From
we done-
Belize on. From
So
Belize
from
on.
Belize, he comes to Belize, which is legally he goes to Belize. That's one
Legally.
Legally.
That's one legal thing that he did. He went to Belize
There's
legally.
a reason we're saying legally.
That's one legal thing that he
Spoiler
did.
alert.
Goes to Belize, hires a lot of people, $45 a day. Excuse me, to build his thing.
I'm drunk, sorry.
Disgusting. To build his house. Hires a chemist or microbiologist, or partners up with her. Assaults her and rapes her.
Unfortunately.
But she was really strong. I thought she did really well in the interview, really strong. Then this guy robbed his house, tried to rob his house, did rob his house. And then that guy's friend, Eddie, aka Mac 10, wanted to go after him. John wanted to go after him. They end up meeting up, and they end up being co-workers.
David also was killed in this.
David Middleton.
Guys, just so you know, a bottle of Barefoot Moscato has
Guys,
just
this
made
is
its
the
way
cheapo.
to its table.
This is the cheapo one.
All right, so
Because we're practically out of beer. We're in need of alcohol. And we're all really drunk at the moment.
in my notes, I have the worst rap album cover because it's a picture of a shirtless McAfee with glasses on, with his arms around two women who
Probably like 16, 15.
probably, because then he says,
Yeah.
"I have lots of teenage girlfriends."
Okay,
And that's nothing
wait,
wrong.
wait.
He said, "I have teenage girlfriends," and there's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, and now me. Because guess what the age of motherfucking consent in Belize is?
Raise your hand if you think it's over 17.
You're wrong if you raised it, because it's fucking 15. That's disgusting. And 15 is still a teen, and he said he has many teenage girlfriends. That's disgusting. But these girls they bring on the fucking interviews are like fucking like 18 years old, whatever. Who the fuck cares?
Well, now.
Wait. Hold on.
But when they were with him, they were way younger.
They said they were 18.
I think she's 18 now.
Here's my thing.
She's not 18 then.
They can tell us all sorts of things. She told us she was 18 when she first met McAfee. She could have been fucking 15 for all we know.
Yeah.
But she's saying she was 18. You know what I'm saying? Like, there may have been a legitimate chance that she was not fucking 18 years old when she first met this guy.
No, dead ass. Like, dead serious. It's fucking disgusting. And it's like, whatever. And then that's when we get into the scat sex.
Wait, but also the girls
I want to really talk about this. I really want to talk about this, guys.
Yes, but also the girls that he's with are, when we heard all their stories, are girls that came from very broken homes.
Yes.
Troubled past and things like that. Wanted to finish school. He offered them money. This one girl got $900 a day.
To fuck
900 US dollars a day in Belize, which is an incredible amount of money there. And those are the girls that I would say he preyed on a little bit. Of the kind of girls that he wanted to be with.
Can I talk about scat sex now?
So then we get into scat sex.
Wait. The way...
But I want to talk about it.
We are. But the way it was unfolded to us...
It was crazy.
Was amazing. They're like, so we sat on a hammock.
Let me do it. Please, let me do it, please.
Let me do the accent.
Because I want to... Just please.
As long as you frame it in the crazy way they framed it.
Okay, now I'm going to be staring at Hallie's eyes as I talk about this. So, then Nanette, our documenteur, asked the question, like, you guys were sexually active with John McAfee.
She was like, did you have sex with him?
McAfee. Yeah. Did you guys have sex with him and everything? And they were like, oh, well, sometimes, yeah. But, like, but then when we get deeper into this, like, what this sexual, like, intercourse, it wasn't really intercourse, but what this sexual thing means. So I want to both do the documentary version and what was happening in my mind. So they're like, yeah, he would like do it in a hammock, and I was just like, no, that's what happened. Say what you want to say, but let me continue.
They would say he would have us sit in a hammock.
Yes, okay,
with a hole cut through.
But I was getting to that. So like. It was like, oh, you don't let people finish. You just want to shake your fucking head and shame people. But let me finish. So he's like, the girl, every single girl.
It was like 3 girls?
Yeah, it was like 3-4 girls. It was like 4 girls around.
It's like 20.
It's like 20 girls. So like all these girls are in consensus of like, oh, he would have us like sit in a hammock. And like one would be like, oh, there was already a hole in the hammock, or another one would be like he'd cut a hole in the hammock. So in my head, I'm like, yo, this dude must have like some like really crazy strength or ability to like yoga.
That's what I thought too.
Yoga must have done something.
Like
yoga.
But in my head, I'm like
bouncing
That's
shit.
What I
like
thought. I was like, what?
And in my head, I'm like, yo, like, why doesn't he want to look at them?
In my head,
right?
At this point,
I thought he was
in
in
my
like
head,
bridge.
I thought he was in a reverse bridge. Like,
right?
I just said he's in a reverse bridge. Erect dick pointing to the sky, and they're on.
Oh my God, you said erect.
they're on this hammock with a hole in it, doing stuff.
Yeah, I feel like we were all like the anatomy is not making
all
sense.
right
Yeah, we were
there.
all on the consensus of
this makes no sense.
So then they're like, oh, so like you had intercourse, and they're like, no, he liked scat sex, and so like me, I didn't know what the fuck scat sex was.
Meanwhile, I recoiled. I felt my butthole go into my mouth. I was like, oh no, oh Lord. And so like Al goes, what is scat sex?
But then our documenteur answered that for us, because the documenteur goes, what's scat sex? And so the girls go, oh, well, he was really into having someone shit in his mouth.
Yeah. So then my first thought was like...
I just want to appreciate the silence that just happened just now.
Because we were watching it and that was what we all did. We were like...
I almost had to leave. I was so close to getting up and like excusing myself, take a 5-minute break. How do you get to that point?
I also then said, I was like, when's the first time you're like, you know what? I want someone to shit in my mouth. When is the first time you're like, you know what?
Shit in my mouth right now.
I want it in my mouth. I'll risk a bacterial infection.
Do you think, like...
I'll risk getting sick.
What if she has diarrhea that day?
He's probably loving it.
Ew, stop. That's disgusting.
Do you think one day he wiped and didn't wipe well enough and, like, cleaned his mouth and went, huh.
Huh.
Something's going on now. I got this. From that day on, he knew.
Right, but then we were talking about, I'm like, so that means, like, so when the girl said, like, did you have sex? And she was like, 900 a day. So I'm like, no, really, like, you got 900 a day.
To shit in his mouth.
To poop in his mouth is what you got 900 a day for.
And then I asked AJ.
To poop in his mouth.
If AJ would poop in a man's mouth for free grad school, and she gave a very
no.
vehement
No. No, thank you.
No.
Diesel said yes.
Well, listen, a guy's got to do what a guy's got to do. Okay?
And it's got some doo-doo in a dude's mouth. A dude's gonna do what a dude's gonna do-doo.
Student loans are a lot, and
You guys
men are in a hell of a lot of trouble in this world.
I'm a man with some loans to pay and a lot of doo-doo to do. And I'm here to do some doo-doo.
That was something.
I'm here to chew bubble gum and shit in guys' mouths, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
It's just disgusting.
It was just like one of those moments where you're kind of like,
no, but
this
like,
guy's great. Like,
did you guys experience this? That like throughout the entire documentary, after that, every time he smiled or talked, I just pictured shit in his mouth.
I could not look at
did
the
you
same.
really?
My entire
that was like what you saw was like
perception of
poop on
him
his teeth.
changed.
That's all I saw was shit on his teeth, and I'm like, yo, this dude eats shit. He eats shit. Like, he eats shit. Like, does he eat during the day? Does he eat food? Does he eat burgers like I do? Does he eat salmon like I do? I don't know. I think he eats shit.
All right.
I think he flambés shit.
It was funny. We were all like, the anatomy is not making sense. But
What do you think his favorite emoji is?
The poop emoji.
A mouth with its tongue out, and then after that, the shit emoji.
A tongue emoji and poop, poop, poop.
Or the shocked emoji where it's like the mouth open.
Yeah.
Wait, mouth open emoji.
With
Poop, eggplant.
Wait, guys, we're getting off topic. There's too many shit
Or like the
things.
water thing too.
Okay,
in case it's
whatever.
blurry.
All right, so
after Shitgate happens, Shitgate, we're gonna call it Shitgate. After Shitgate happens,
the GSF came into play.
It's the GSU. What GSF? GSU? What is it?
GSU. I think it was U, maybe F or U. Either way,
I have it in my notes. Hold on. So I think it was the GSU. It was the gang. Yeah,
Sorry, I just
gang suppression unit. So then one day,
oh yeah, that was big.
just picture it like this. One day, John's sitting in his fucking compound, and it's like, so he's in a different part of Belize, just not to confuse anyone.
Shitting in some girl's mouth.
So he's in a different part of Belize. No, he didn't shit in girls' mouths. The girls shit in his mouth. So
there he is
anyways,
in Belize, having his mouth shattered.
No, I'm not there yet. So, like, he's in Belize, but he's in a different part of Belize. Because what island was he on? He was on an island outside of Belize.
Santo something.
San Pedro. Like Santa Pedro. But he was on the inland, in mainland.
Yes,
so, like, currently, at this part of the story that we're telling, he was in the mainland of Belize because he was trying to take over all of Belize.
But his compound was in Santo Pedro.
Yeah.
No. His house was in Santo Pedro, but his compound was in the mainland.
I was confused
of Belize. In Orange Walk or whatever it was.
They kept going.
Yeah.
And
so
between the two. Yeah.
To go back to Allison real quick. He gave her orange juice, and she thought it was foul. And she made a joke about how she can't get good orange juice on Orange Walk.
In a place called Orange Walk. Yeah.
And then he raped her.
Yeah. So then what happens is one lonely night, John's getting shit on in his mouth, and he's enjoying it. He's cuckling it like that. And then all of a sudden...
He's like, what?
What is it like?
Like that.
Yes. Everyone, that's how scat porn sounds like. You heard it here first.
That's so nasty. That's a good stat, though.
So then he gets a radio call. It's just shit porn.
I'm going to look up the exact pronunciation.
You don't have to, but I'm good if I don't.
So then, whatever. He gets a radio call, and it's like, yo, the GSU's here.
Oh, yeah, gang suppression unit.
So then they come in, they arrest him. They're like, yo, we, like, have, like...
Oh, yeah, that's a good part.
We have understanding.
Scatological. So, side note, it comes from scatological, which is like scat is like the Latin for poop.
Okay. So
Got it.
it's like they're like, oh, like we have like reason to believe that you're building like you have an illegal lab. You have an illegal lab, and you're like building like making drugs here and shit like that and everything. And so they search the place, and there's like they find something that looks like he's producing methamphetamine or like crack cocaine and selling it online, but it tests to be neither. So in my theory also, I think that he's invented another drug that he's selling online, but we can talk about that another time. Let's stick to the actual documentary here.
Side note, look at that. He's definitely on something.
Yeah, he's definitely on something. He is
in some sort of psychosis where he's not making logical decisions. He's very shoot from the hip, shoot first, ask questions later. Like, the decisions he's making are not logical decisions.
You know what's so crazy? But I'm also thinking, like, when they said that it's not methamphetamine, it's not cocaine and things like that. But I'm also like, could he also have just, like, made something to get attention? Like, that's my other thing.
Wait. They can't DNA test. How the fuck do they know what those powders were?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But my thing is, like, what if he was the type, like,
it could have been fentanyl. Mm-hmm. It could have been like fentanyl, where it's like a synthetic drug that doesn't come up on a standard drug test.
You're right.
I don't know. My opinion's a little different. I think there are crazy people in the world that don't need to take anything personally, that also don't need to be on something. And I also think that he's such a narcissist and things like that, that he's the type that wants like attention, that like he just added food coloring to like water for a photo shoot, that he just like made something that looked like something. Like, I also think like that, just to be like, oh, like GSU, like look what I have in here. Like, I don't know. That's what I think. I don't know if he necessarily was on anything. I think they're also just irrational people.
He's very good at playing to what people want to see.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying whatever that was that they found could have been just like packed sugar.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that. Like, I just feel like
I think they would have told us if it was sugar,
but they didn't say anything.
They didn't. They didn't test it or anything.
Well, they did test it. They could not determine
it was neither.
But like, I think if they could determine it was sugar, they would have said it was. It was some sort of compound that they did not quite know what it was.
Right, but it could have been nothing.
Right, but
like that. Like, I just feel like he's so crazy that I'm like, people like that, I like would have been like, oh, let me just make up a thing that looks like whatever.
Yeah.
Like. I don't know.
That's my thing. Maybe like a drug that like Belize wasn't able to detect of.
Yeah.
Because we're like.
Or it wasn't a drug, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, possibly. Possibly, the fuck knows.
Like, that's what I'm saying.
John McAfee does. Where the fuck's he? Let's bring him in here. And everyone,
don't say that.
Our next guest.
Don't say that.
Our next guest is John McAfee.
No. So what you gotta do is
we'll just email him and he'll keep emailing us.
Yeah, we'll email him and he'll respond back. So, anyone, if you guys want to know what that white powder was, just email him.
Yeah, just ask him.
JohnMcAfee@gmail.com probably. And he'll
probably. Or tweet at him.
Yeah,
tweet at him. Because I will read you tweets in a minute.
And we're going to do it later.
Hold on.
Once we get through the documentary, we'll read some of his fucking tweets.
Yeah, so let's get through this. So, after this, he becomes more paranoid and he moves back to San Pedro. Yeah, he leaves San Pedro. What? What were you going to say? He left to San Pedro.
Yes.
He left to San Pedro. And so he left San Pedro, comes back to his house, and his housekeeper's like, yo, you're acting crazy. And this is when everyone starts getting in on, like, he had David killed, whatever. And so he brings all his guards and his attack dogs with him. And that's when we meet, what's his name? Greg Fall?
Greg Fall.
So poor Greg Fall. So, like, Greg Fall is, like, just, like, some hardworking man in Belize. He's the Fall guy. So, like, he's some hardworking man in Belize who's just, like, building homes for people and doing, like, maintenance work and stuff like that and everything. So he gets into it with John McAfee. And he's like, yo, like, your armed guards, your dogs, it's too much and everything. So it gets to a point where
it's because Greg Fall walks past John's house to get to a bar that he likes to frequent. And his dogs are out there, and his dogs are very aggressive. They'll probably bite you, I would assume.
So this leads to basically Greg makes his biggest mistake where he decides to poison the dogs. So he poisons John's dogs.
Because he already asked him.
Because they already had a confrontation about it and everything. And he went
to the police, and the police were like, we can't
And so what are you going to do when John's bought out the police?
Yeah.
And it's like, so Greg has no other choice, even though that shouldn't be your resort. Like, it shouldn't be your resort to kill dogs and everything. But whatever. So Greg makes the mistake of poisoning John's dogs. This is a stupid feud between the two of them. And so John right away is like, he announces to everyone, even a police official. Yeah. He announces, I'm gonna fucking kill him. Like, I am going to kill this man. And so, you know, one day John's talking about getting back at Greg. Next day, Greg is found dead in his apartment. Yeah. With taser marks all over his body. He's shot in the head and everything and shit like that. And all they found, this is why we keep talking about DNA evidence over here, is because all they found was a fingernail in Greg's hair, and they can't use DNA evidence to, like, match it to anybody. And so, like, at this point,
they don't
like,
have it.
They're like, even the police person who's, like, bought off by John is like, yo, like, we gotta do something because, like, things are getting too hot down here. Like, they're getting too hot, and, like, the military is going to get involved if, like, we don't do something. So John becomes super paranoid because he's fingered as a person that, like, is going to be indicted or something. So he flees. He, like, hits up someone from the mainland. He's like, yo, like, you got to get me out of here. And so they go on this whole fucking, like, road trip where I know we all took notes on this, where he's, like, running a side blog. And he's like, yo, like,
blogging. Yeah,
he's investigated for murder. Side note. The fucking gang suppression unit is the highest military in Belize. Which, again, brings back to our point of, like, what are the real problems in Belize? Yeah. If gang suppression is the highest order of military. Yeah. Anyway, no, it's true. Escaping Belize.
So, he, like, they go through, like, the southern part of Belize, and, like, this guy that he knew from the mainland is, like, guiding him through and shit like that and everything. And eventually gets to a point where it's like this guy's like, I can no longer house John in Belize because he's blogging too much. He's doing too many fucking interviews.
He, like, can't stop talking.
He can't stop talking about it. He's just, like, gloating about, like, gloating about, like, bloated. He's bloated from the salt.
It's that time of the month for John.
It's that time of the month, but it's always that time of the month.
It's got some Midol. He's a little less bloated now. He's doing good.
So,
like, in an interview when he was, like, on the run
with Vice,
they were like,
no, that's not yet. That's no.
That was another country.
So he's like, I can't do this anymore, and he's like, yo, I gotta take you to, like, Guatemala and everything. So it's like they're going through the south part of the country, and, like, he's like, John, listen, like, you can escape to Guatemala by boat, but I can legitimize your entry through Guatemala because I have connections in this city. And so John immediately is like, nah, I'm going to make the great escape by boat, which is his first mistake. So he fucking escapes by boat into Guatemala. And so he invites Vice to come through. And of course Vice is going to fucking, like, tag where they are, the fucking assholes. That's another fucking episode. I fucking can't stand Vice News anymore. So I don't care if we lose listeners over that. I can't stand Vice News anymore. So Vice, of course, tags where they are in fucking Guatemala. And fucking, of course, everyone shows up because it's like, yo, they tagged us. They tagged where we are in fucking Guatemala. So he was under arrest for fucking being illegal in Guatemala.
Yeah, so to summarize, he illegally got into Guatemala. Vice News geotagged where they were through a photo, and the fucking police got him.
Yeah.
So then, like, he gets taken to jail and everything. He gets a fucking lawyer and shit like that and everything. And so they're like, yo, we're going to extradite you to, like, Belize because you're wanted for, like, murder. And so then...
No, but that was the Vice interview when the Vice guy asked him. Right? What I'm talking about?
What are you talking about?
When they said, like, did you kill Greg
That
Fowler?
was...
And then he was like, and this is, like, my favorite, like, answer from people who are guilty, when they're like, why would I kill him?
Well, that's
why would I do that?
That was after he was captured. That was after he was captured, though.
By
Guatemala, please.
No, but that yes, that's what I'm saying.
What did he do? What did he do? I'm covering my face. What did he do to make it so that he was not captured by the police, but was not in jail?
Oh yeah, we weren't.
Faked a fucking heart attack.
Faked a heart attack. It was like they couldn't file an appeal until 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So he was like, all right, I'll fake a heart attack. And then he faked a heart attack. And then it was 3 p.m. and he was in the hospital. And he was like, all right, I feel better. And then he knew it would be 15 years until he could get extradited to Belize. I was like, yo, this guy, man.
And so during this time, they're deporting back to the United States?
Yeah, he goes back to the U.S.
And that's when all the people start asking those questions like, did you kill so-and-so?
Yeah, he's like, why would you say it, Al?
He was like, why would I? And I was like, you're guilty. It's like because,
that is what you said too. You were like, you're guilty. You're guilty.
You did.
You killed me because
you
did. Open and shut case.
He's like, why would I? I was like, I love when people answer a question with a question. That's what R. Kelly did too. See? Guilty.
All brings back.
Yep, exactly. He's
Guys,
like,
this
why would I do that? He didn't scream, but he might as well.
Podcast is all about uncovering the crimes of R. Kelly.
Yo, that's another
That's really
one.
what this is.
But
Which he totally did. He totally raped those girls.
Like, if you want to know what guilt looks like, it's when you like answer a question with a question. That's guilty.
Or just watch R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, this is John McAfee's.
Watch John McAfee interviews where he powdered himself to look
Oh yeah, and then oh my
God, we skipped over it. We skipped over it. Shit, we skipped over it.
He at one point, to fool the press, powdered his hair and his face.
Said he was dying.
And put a shawl on and had a cane and walked like he was dying. But the press knew that he was just fucking with them.
Right.
So they didn't ask questions about it because they're afraid he was going to run off. And so they went to his room and they sat down, waiting for John. And John bursts in and throws the shawl off and dusts the dust off and goes, "Fooled ya!" And they're like, "Good job, John.
They're like, yeah.
Totally got us.
Wow.
Now did you kill that man?"
And he's like, well, why would I?
But anyways, now
So I
we're
told
back
you
in we're back in Florida now because like
Yes.
Guatemala kicked him out and like they were like go back to the U.S. So he's back in Florida.
Yeah.
And he's running in 2016 for the election. He's running this year for the election, but we'll get to that in a minute. Yeah. He has like a wife that's a prostitute.
But can I say something about that scene? So I just thought it was really funny when like he's walking around with his wife who's, I don't know, like 18, 20, whatever.
At this point, probably 28.
Yeah, probably 20. And so it's this young girl, and like they're talking about like he's kind of getting back into the industry, right? Like he's doing things again. He has like, I don't know. I feel like they're talking about him as being like rich and stuff like that in the media.
Dancing like he's coked out of his mind.
But my thing is that when they're showing all these scenes of him, I'm like, you guys are shopping at Forever 21.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't even notice that.
Like,
I didn't notice it
like,
either.
that was my whole thing. This is no bashing of Forever 21. Like, all Warner thinks are Forever 21 right now. They have cute stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. They have really cute stuff.
But you're a millionaire shopping at Forever 21.
And they're showing him in this like lavish lifestyle, and I'm
With
like,
all these bags.
and I'm
it's
like, you
fucking
guys
Great
didn't pick up on
Gatsby.
that. I was like, guys, I literally watched. I'm like, that's Forever 21. That probably cost you like $50. All those bags. Like, really? It's like that.
So he announces that he's gonna fucking run for president in 2016, and he makes one of the favorite lines for Howley of the entire fucking documentary, where he says he's on stage and he's debating, and he's like, well, are there terrorist attacks and why do I sound like Nixon right now? So like, are there terrorist attacks in Russia? Are there terrorist attacks in China? No. And I'm like, yo, there's fucking terrorist attacks everywhere, bro. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, these countries are so far ahead of us.
And then everyone is like,
Yeah, they cut to the crowd clapping, eating it up. I'm like, you fucking.
And then I was like, these are countries that don't have full access to the internet.
Yes,
are dictated.
Facts. But whatever. So like it ends there where everyone's like bashing him and they're like, oh, like he's he's a madman. He came back here and like he got joined up with this company and their stock rose and this company and their stock rose. So I want to throw something out there, and I like don't really care what anyone thinks because there's actually McAfee has like a cult following.
Yeah.
And he has a cult following. I don't know why. It's something about a crazy over 60 man who has no money and just speaks craziness that creates a fucking cult following. But where was I getting at? I'm so drunk.
Tweets?
So no, not
Tweets?
his tweets.
So
But
pulling up now.
But there's something about like You're pulling up his tweets.
I'm sorry.
Stop. So I gotta finish this fucking thought. So like, they're like talking about like how he's created himself as like a brand new entrepreneur and stuff like that and everything. He's reinvented himself. I want to tell you guys something. I want to say something right here from someone who's in tech, from someone who, from like, literally from like the late 90s till today, has been fucking with fucking computers. I've never signed off on anything that has this man's name attached to it. I don't understand how he has like created some sort of like new level for himself. I don't understand how companies can attach their name to his. I don't understand who in the tech industry fucking like adores this man. They're sharing tweets with each other, so they're both fucking laughing. Just wait 1 second. Let me finish this fucking thought. Let me finish this thought, Holly. Let me finish this thought. So, like, you're fucking me up, man. So, like, honest to God, anything with this man's name attached to it, like, I would not fuck with it. Like, I would literally not fuck with it. And, like, for all you know, for all you fucking know, because he's out here talking about cybersecurity. He's out here fucking, Holly, give me a second. Come on.
I'm sorry.
He's out here. Stop looking at tweets. Stop looking at tweets.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
So, we're going to get to the tweets in a second. So, he's out here talking about cybersecurity. He's out here talking about, like, oh, the cybersecurity of the nation is at trouble and at risk and everything. How do you know? And I'm going to say this. I'm going to be a conspiracy creator here. How do you know that John, because first off, before 2016, I'm talking about in the early 2000s, if he was a 10 millionaire, whatever, as they say, how, with all these hiring for murderers, with all these hiring hitmen, with all this stuff, how is he not run out of money? For all you know, John McAfee and every company he signs his name off into has been stealing your fucking information from day 1. 100 fucking percent, bro.
There's
anyone
no way.
in the fucking tech industry, anyone in the, and this is both of them fucking concurring with me right here. Anyone in the fucking tech industry that has the fucking audacity to fucking sign their name off with this guy is definitely fucking committing a crime. They're definitely fucking committing a crime. They are definitely fucking stealing your fucking information, and they're definitely fucking selling that to fucking people. And by the way,
no, for sure,
they skipped over the whole fucking part where this guy was in fucking DR and he fucking disappeared with his fucking his new wife. And they were at sea, and he tweeted, he's like, waiting for the CIA to fucking roll up on me. And he had a fucking AK-47 in his fucking hand. But what happened when he got arrested? He fucking got arrested, and he went silently. He's a fucking bitch. He's a fucking bitch.
A note I had was, so many guns.
So many guns.
Why so many guns? Like, a lot of guns. There's a lot. Overall, would you guys recommend this documentary for your friends?
I would definitely recommend this documentary for my friends. Want to know why?
Why?
Because I would want them to know who this guy is. Okay. I would want them to know what he signs his name off on, what companies he's affiliated with, and not to fuck with them.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they went a little bit more into things. I do feel like it was kind of like surfacey a little bit with like the documentary. Like I feel like
it could have been a series. It would have been a great series.
I think there's like a little bit more to go into. I'm sure they could have like dove into things like that of like your like personal security and whatnot if you use his stuff. I did in college, and like I think like I don't know. No, it was good. I really liked it. It was good. I think the timeline could have changed a little bit so that you understood what was happening a little bit better, but
they jumped around a lot.
I think they jumped around a lot. It was a little surfacey, but I think yes.
I understood the timeline very well. They posted dates.
They did, but they did jump around.
Except when he got arrested in the beginning.
Yeah.
There was no date when he was arrested.
That was weird, but
there was no date. There's no dash cam date.
There's no dash cam date. Like it's like there's no fucking like what the fuck, whatever. It doesn't matter. But we're going to read you some eloquent tweets. Can I start with mine, please?
You start with yours.
Please?
I'll read mine for.
Okay, yours are probably really funny. This is one from November 19th. At 11:39 a.m.
This year?
So this year. No, it's 18th of November, 2019, 11:39 a.m. And has 429 retweets and 3,610 likes. So I honestly, like, I don't know if you guys just love the fact that this man's crazy and you guys just want to like his shit and retweet his shit. I like don't know why you guys elevate this man onto a platform that he shouldn't be on. Like, what's with fucking crazy people? I don't know. Whatever. John McAfee tweeted, "I've had more money than any one person should ever be allowed to have. One thing I know, riches being stuff, but stuff is not life." So, someone tweets back at him. I'm not going to name their name. Someone tweets back at him and they say, "But dude, without money, I can't afford my addictions."
I've seen this one.
So, I sent it to you.
You did.
Before we agreed on this documentary.
Yes, we did, yeah.
That's how we agreed on this documentary.
Yes, exactly.
So, John McAfee replies back and says, "Learn to make money through your addictions.
Sell your coke.
Crazy.
Sell the drugs and other pleasures you're addicted to. A sex/heroin addict, for example, would make a fine pimp/drug dealer." What the literal fuck?
Yeah.
So mine's from New Year's Eve this year. Last year. New Year's Eve of 2018. So this is posted on 5:14 p.m. December 31st, 2018. The official John McAfee Twitter goes, "Enough of the whale fucking is non-consensual bullshit. A humpback whale weighs 70,000 pounds, is 50 feet long, and can dive more than a quarter mile, and can crush ships with a single sweep of its tail. If a human manages to fuck one, you better damn believe it's consensual." Someone replies, "Who is trying to have sex with whales, though?" All caps. And he replies, "Try to join a secret marry whale fucking club, but discriminated against elderly, bearded, tag-along speaking white men, which runs rampant in New Zealand. Caused them to mistake me for a well-known tech personality, and I was soundly trashed. Tired on my own and failed." He then replies, do you want to tweet about this? Beta's going crazy. "Please, people, this is not an acceptable way to fuck a whale. Those who indulge in compassionate whale fucking do not so while the whale is resting on the surface, diving underneath, or perform a deed. I do not approve this apt depiction here, courtesy of Chinaman123, and it posts a picture of a whale beached on a whale and a man on top of said whale in a certain position." To which he then replies the next day, this is now January 5th, "My whale fucking manifesto." By the way, he misspelled the F word, he put a U there. Fuckung, is being displayed on road signs, bar menus, marquees, and fake Seventh-day Adventist promotional foldouts. This is a good thing. If you want to precipitate, he's misspelling participate, in the distribution while being educated, it's all about its purpose. Contact at Lagina on Fire. I'm going to say their name because it's right there in the tweet anyway.
Yeah, right? It's public. His account is public.
On the McAfee, there's one more of the McAfee whale fucking saga. "I angered the folks at whalefucker.com. That wasn't my intent. I don't want to belittle the suffering of families of the young men killed or maimed attempting to copulate with a whale. However, I used whalefucker to draw attention. I'll continue. Forgive me. Your libertarian candidate for 2020, John McAfee."
Did you know that on his Twitter also he gives tutorials about let's see. There's a video. It says, "So you're caught with massive quantities of illegal drugs, nuclear weapons, human slaves. At the latter, I cannot possibly condone your chosen profession, but I do feel your pain of being caught. So what do? Follow these easy step-by-step guidelines." And he has a video. Also, his wife Janice, how Janice and I escaped being deported back to the U.S.
Wait. I'm sorry. AJ, I really hate to interrupt you.
He has tutorials.
But if you guys honestly have time, please.
I kind of want to watch these.
No. Really, guys, if you really have time and you love comedy, please watch this fucking privileged white man talk about how to escape being arrested at the border for drugs.
He also has.
Sorry, officer,
has a
I
prelude.
didn't know I had it on me.
That's literally what...
Yeah. He also has a note.
Oh, sorry, sir. I'm white.
White.
I'm white. Sorry.
I didn't know I couldn't do that.
Do you
recall
know
the old Chappelle joke?
Do you know that on my papers for the SAT, I legally have to put, well, not legally because technically we can't do that. So, but I have to put down that I am technically considered white.
Yep.
So you should just take these drugs, move along, and let me move into my country of choice.
He also has himself playing on the piano. It's called No Weed Symphony.
No, but fuck those. You need
and
to...
No, but it says under the influence of research chemicals. So that might be that food-colored water that he had in the documentary that he's under the influence of.
Okay. All right. So honestly, leading back to this, I'd recommend this documentary. I'd say watch it.
Agreed.
That way, don't fuck with anything with this guy's name on it.
Yeah.
Crypto included. If you fucking...
I'm fully expecting John McAfee to kick this door down any minute now. And
Probably. Probably.
Yeah. I'm suspecting that by like next Sunday, we're probably gonna have people following us around.
So if we don't put out another episode by next week, do a wellness call.
We're gonna be Epstein.
We're gonna be Epstein.
Oh, that's not funny.
We are.
Oh my god.
We are gonna be Epstein.
Oh my
We're
god.
gonna see in the news 3 educators killed in their sleep.
Oh
and
my god.
3 educators all sacrimoniously killed themselves. And it's like...
We're locking the door extra tonight.
I hope Beta's gonna protect you.
Beta will protect. Yes.
Don't worry, we got Google for that though. Yo, Google, let us know if someone breaks into the door. No problem.
Oh, good. So I'll let you know before
thanks.
you die. So be awake.
No problem, Diesel.
So
We'll activate guns in closet.
Oh, wait, are we fucking the Matrix? What the fuck? Yeah. Like, oh, your gun's gonna go off in the fucking closet.
Yo, it's Google, bro. It does everything.
Like,
it does everything.
It's not Alexa though.
Right?
Alexa doesn't know shit. Alexa doesn't know
Alexa
shit.
doesn't.
I had an Alexa. Okay, we're not gonna get into this. So,
those viewers, guys.
So those viewers, oh my god. So let's talk about this beer. We're done with the documentary talk. Let's talk about this beer. So I'm gonna start with AJ to Howley to then me. Let's start with Guns N' Rose. What would you rate it out of 5?
4.
Mm-hmm. Why would you give it that rating?
I really like it. It's really good. I guess it gets... Well, beer gets heavy after a while, so I can't drink as much as I could with wine. But it was really good. Like, I would order this at the bar if I was at... Like, if we went out. Like, I would definitely order this at the bar. I think it was really good. Very good.
It's a solid fruit beer.
Yeah.
I give it a 3.5 out of 5. Like, I've had better fruit beers, but like... If again, like you said, I would order this at a bar.
Yeah, for sure.
I saw it, I'd order it, and I would enjoy it. I'd tell my friends to order it too.
Yeah.
Not too tart for a fruit beer.
No.
Even with the prickly pear flavor to it, it's very good.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And last but not least,
What do you think?
No, I would definitely agree with you guys. I would honestly order this at the bar.
Yeah,
I'd give it like a I'm gonna agree with AJ on this one. I definitely would give it a 4 out of 5. It's not my like beer of choice, but if I saw it, I'm like, yo, like I'm gonna order that beer because it's like you get the best of 2 worlds here. Okay, like you still have that really beer hoppy taste, but then at the same time you taste that really fruity essence that is rosé at the same time. And it's like it's honestly a really good blend of both worlds. And yeah, like I actually really enjoyed drinking this beer.
Same.
I really enjoyed drinking this beer. And just like Holly said, it's not like it doesn't give that like tart or like as I would say sour.
acidic.
Like it doesn't give that like that really acidic taste that normal fruity beers would actually throw back at you and everything. So I quite enjoyed this beer. I would definitely recommend it. I would definitely give it a 4 out of 5.
One thing before I move on, all you people on Untapped that gave it a 3.3,
Yeah, true.
watch out.
Yeah, it's definitely better than
We're gonna find you, give you this beer, make you re-upload your data flavors on it, and put a 3.5 at least.
Yeah.
Diesel and I will find you. Beta will come with us.
Beta's our cat, by the way.
She will claw you and make you one-eyed like her. All right?
Oh,
She's cute.
Okay.
Next beer.
So next beer, how about we do Life in the Clouds? AJ?
Yeah.
AJ?
That was the more hoppy one, right?
Yeah.
No. This is mid.
That was the less hoppy one.
yeah.
Okay, that one I would give a 3 out of 5. I would give it 3. I said before I'm not. Oh no, but that was the one that was more crispy, right?
Yeah.
Yes, this one was more crispy. So yeah, 3 out of 5.
Citrusy, more crispy.
Yes, definitely more citrusy. So I didn't taste the hops as much. And yeah, I would take 3 out of 5. It's good. I probably wouldn't order it at a bar. Probably wouldn't order it again. I'd probably take a sip of yours if we were at the bar together. But I definitely wouldn't order one for myself. But yeah, I'd say 3 out of 5. It's good. Like if we were just hanging here and I was just sipping on something, you know.
I give it a 4. It's a very good New England style IPA.
Yeah.
It's got that crisp lightness you expect out of it. Mm-hmm. It's not gonna bog you down with that bunch of like that hoppy hot bomb flavor you kind of expect out of the more traditional West Coast IPA. So I think it's a very good IPA. I enjoy it. It's light enough where I can drink a lot of it.
Yeah.
It's high in alcohol content, which is a good and bad thing. I'm not gonna make a judgment on that.
Yeah.
I will say that you have to be a little careful drinking it. That it doesn't taste like it's 6%.
No.
Like I can drink 3 of these, and all of a sudden I'm in a bad position.
Yeah.
But I do think it's a very good beer. 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
Very citrusy, nice crisp flavor to it. Not too hoppy, but it's got a juice flavor to it though. I really like it. Suggest it.
So I would definitely, personally, give this like a 5 out of 5.
Ooh.
This is like, I would definitely give this a 5 out of 5 over here. Because, like, first off, just like Holly just said, like, it definitely doesn't have like that normal taste that you get with like pale ales and stuff like that and everything. I would definitely order this at the bar. I would definitely sip on this all night. Like, I would say be careful with it because it does have a really high alcohol content, so I wouldn't go ordering it all night long. But like, this is definitely a beer that I'd go, and if I saw it on the menu, like, I'd be like, let me get a Life in the Clouds. Because it's really great tasting. You still get those spices, which are normal pale ales and stuff like that. But for me, like, of course, like, everyone's different. Like, for me, it became, like, kind of sweeter and lighter after, like, taking my sips and, like, drinking and stuff like that and everything. So it is a pale ale that I could drink for a prolonged period of time. So I could have, like, 3-4 of these, like, eventually feel nice. Yes, of course. But, like,
over the course of the night.
Yes, exactly. But I could stick to this beer. Like, I'm always looking for a beer that I could stick to.
Right.
So, like, this is definitely a beer that I personally would be able to stick to all night long. I do love on the cans how they have different artists on their images, on the cans and stuff like that.
Yeah,
the cans are really nice.
Dope.
Yeah.
I love how they give notice to the artists, because we have the artist right here underneath the barcode that painted the photo and stuff like that and everything. I'd give it
note, I think one's actually an album cover.
Oh, one's an album cover?
You're gonna get 3 viewers from this, guys, but Janky Cosmos. The song Jesse off the album Vessel is the puppy cover. The poodle in the pool.
Yeah.
So I think it's really cool. On a side note.
That is cool.
So 5 out of 5. And then last but not least, TV party.
TV party tonight.
Okay, so if
Couple
you were
of guys
not
drinking some
sorry.
booze, TV party tonight.
All right. Well, sorry guys.
Football.
If you're like me,
Westworld. Game of Thrones.
Can you shut up?
60 minutes.
Oh.
Space.
Sunday Night Football. If you're like me and you don't like hoppy stuff, which I don't, I'm sorry, I really don't like it. I know, I really don't. I know, but but I'm not a big beer drinker. So if anyone's like me, I don't know, like a 2 out of 5, guys. Like, it was really hoppy. It's not my cup of tea. So if you don't like hops like I do, it might not be for you. But I know a lot of people do like that hoppy taste. I just don't. I wouldn't be able to order this at a bar or finish it. I would have to have someone finish it for me. So yeah, it wasn't my wasn't my favorite, but that's okay because we all have different palates. Hallie?
I like it. Out of virtue of giving the life in the clouds 4, I gotta give TV Party a 3.75. Like I can't give the same as Life in the Clouds, which I do like better. But it's much more, as they even put on the cover, crushable. I can drink like 3 of these at a barbecue. I feel good.
I would not be able to.
Oh, I can crush 3 of these at a barbecue and feel
you
good.
You guys like that taste.
I do.
Yeah.
It is very hoppy, like you said, so it kind of detracts from that crispness of the Life in the Clouds. It's almost just as citrusy, but the lack of hoppy flavor in Life in the Clouds is much more noticeable. They taste very similar. However, I do think Life in the Clouds is a bit cleaner, a bit more of a refined beer. But again, TV Party is good. I really enjoy it. It's juicy. A bit dangerous again, 5.5%. Actually, we were wrong the entire time.
Oh, that's lower than the other
It's
two.
a lot lower, actually. Wow, we were wrong. Rectify all this. Let's delete this entire podcast episode.
I know. I think we said 6 in the beginning. This is only 5.1.
We did. We fucked up.
Yeah.
Doesn't really change my opinion though. It's a very good beer. I enjoy it. But I just like Life in the Clouds a little better. It's not as acidic, not as harsh on the gullet, on the taste. So I gotta go Life in the Clouds, the edge. To summarize, TV Party tonight. Got a couple guys, have some brews. 3.75.
3.75?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually going to give this a 3.7. TV Party has a really great taste to it, as Holly just explained it very eloquently. But the thing with me, for my drinkers out there that definitely have sensitive stomachs and love beer, TV Party definitely gives you that pale ale taste, nearish to what an IPA would give you and stuff like that and everything. It's really heavy. It has a great, you could taste everything, the spices, everything, the hops, all that stuff. It's really great. But I would not be able to drink this beer prolonged. I would definitely I would definitely drink one of these, have a couple cups of water or a bottle of water or something like that, and then I'd switch over to another beer. So my consensus for the night is definitely I would recommend Life in the Clouds. If you have a chance, pick up Life in the Clouds. That's my winner for tonight. I'm sure that AJ, what's your winner for tonight? It is
Guns N' Rosé.
And then Howie, what would yours be?
I gotta go with Life in the Clouds.
So 2 for Life in the Clouds, 1 for Guns N' Rosé. This has been Brewed Awakening. Thank you so much. Episode 2. Thank you so much, Howie, for joining us tonight and watching this John McAfee.
It's an interesting one.
Definitely would recommend the documentary. Definitely would recommend the beer. Howie, closing words? AJ, closing words?
Let's see. Don't exploit people because they have no money. It's kind of sad, I think. And I would say with John McAfee, whatever you say his name with, I think not the Virgin Mobile guy. I think I agree with what Diesel said. I don't think you should trust his stuff. He's a narcissist. Can't stop talking. Literally cannot stop talking.
3 times in my notes, it was this guy can't stop.
Can't stop talking. Literally cannot. And I wouldn't trust him with anything of mine. So yeah.
My final closing words is McAfee should be arrested.
Yes.
He's in London.
Hashtag arrest McAfee.
Hashtag arrest.
Hashtag Maca no more. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hashtag McNo. I don't know. I'm trying to think. But basically, to summarize it, that man should be arrested.
Yes.
For at least a rape, possibly 2 murders, the extortion of the entire Belizean government.
Oh my God, for sure. Yep.
He's like a white Genghis Khan.
He is.
A white wannabe Pablo Escobar.
He already did it though.
My closing notes would be: thank you for watching.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. Sorry. I'm pretty drunk. And that if episode 3 does not come out, or 4 or 5, if something happens, if something goes awry, because we have a lot of things lined up, if something goes awry, you know what happened. John McAfee, watch your back. We're not coming after you, but we've already indicted you in our potential murders.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.